Yo, what's going on, guys? It's episode 74 of many. The first thought that I want to leave you guys with or have you guys think about is it's been about 2 months since I finished the 10X is Easier Than 2X book. And this has actually shifted our business quite a bit, I would say, in the last 2 months. What we have done in the last 2 months has actually been shift our mindset to thinking like this 10X mindset versus 2X. If you haven't read the book, or if you have no idea what I'm talking about because you didn't listen to the episode where I talked about this book, Benjamin Hardy wrote a book called 10X is Easier Than 2X. Essentially, you create a very large goal that seems extremely unrealistic, and you kind of cut through all the bullshit when you're figuring out what to do. So instead of wasting time on the little things that we're getting caught up in our day-to-day lives with, we kind of realize if we're going to accomplish this massive goal in 3 years, we don't really have time to do these little things that we're just staying busy with, right? So what we've done with our businesses, and I think I've mentioned these a couple times on here as well, but in the last 2 months, we've actually changed a lot of our systems and operations, and our mindset is the biggest thing. So on the gym side, on Grizzly Fitness side, our crazy goal that I threw out there was let's get to 50 gyms in 3 years. Like something crazy, right? We're at 6, technically 7. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. But we've now shifted our mindset to when we're building things today, we ask ourselves, is this going to work if we had 50 gyms? AKA, is this scalable? Are we wasting our time on what we're doing right now? Should we build this differently, right? So we have used the mindset as we're creating like the foundational things in our business, right? So 50 gyms in 3 years is a massive goal. Now, anytime we do something, we ask ourselves, does this fit into our 50 gyms in 3 years mindset? So it's a very interesting way to think. I would really like you guys to read the book, 10X is Easier Than 2X. It just is a very big mindset shift. The other thing, on the priority fitness side of things, the way that has changed our operations there is we've now taken the approach of if we were the best fitness equipment installer, mover, servicer in the world. Actually, we're actually just going with if we were the best fitness equipment installer in the world, what would that look like? And we're reverse engineering that. So we're kind of taking the approach that in 3 years' time, we are going to be the best fitness equipment installer in the world. And that means like everything is our fleet. How do we look at the jobs? How do we talk to the customer on the jobs? How do we bill the customer? How easy is it for the customer to pay us? How easy is it for the customer to get a quote? How good do our tools look on site? Like just these, you just start going down to all these details and what would the best installer in the world do and look and act, right? So we're now taking the approach in 3 years' time, we're going to be the best gym equipment installer / mover in the world, right? And now we've reverse engineered that. And that's actually allowed us to really take some big steps and leaps here as of recent in our business on that side too. So funny enough, side note, as I was with Nolan on Friday of last week, for you guys listening, today is Monday. This episode releases tomorrow on Tuesday. So Nolan and I were talking on Friday, and he actually, we were driving on the way back from an install, and he goes, I just want to let you know I really appreciate all the time you've been giving Priority Fitness. I feel like we've really improved a lot just recently, and it's actually been really fun. And so there's a couple things here. One, I really appreciated him saying that, and then I kind of dove deeper, like why was he saying that? Was I neglecting Priority Fitness before? Was I not focused enough? And the simple answer was we were building our personal training side on Grizzly Fitness, and that a lot of my attention was devoted to that. And so now I've come back to help Priority Fitness quite a bit. And each day is like a learning curve for me, like as a leader, as a business owner, as a multi-business owner, managing different businesses and like figuring out it's kind of like my work balance instead of work-life balance. How do I make sure that each of our, babies, each of our businesses get the right amount of attention? So I kind of wanted to understand from his point of view, like, was I neglecting Priority Fitness before? Was I not giving it enough attention? I really just think my leadership skills have improved in the last 30 to 60 days, going to some of those conferences, reading that book in specific, that I've now allowed myself to take a step back and figure out where our business really needs some work. So anyways, The other thing, and this is a side note, and I want you guys to think about this, like Nolan saying that to me, like kind of made me realize there's like, I'm kind of jumping all over the place here, but if you don't know much about the five love languages, and I'm not going to talk about them here because I haven't researched them, and I actually have a book that I'm waiting to read on it as well. But the five love languages is actually very important on how to manage people, how to understand people, how to like communicate, right? So once you learn what gets people going, you can really use that as a power, as a tool to better run your business, better run your life, better understand people. You know, some people want gifts, some people want words of affirmation, right? So understanding the five love languages and being able to read people, it's a big thing. So anyways, Nolan giving me praise was awesome. And it's because what I started reflecting on was like, how many times do you tell your boss like how much you appreciate them? And not on their birthday, and not when they give you like a big raise or a bonus. Like, how often do you say, hey, I just want to let you know you've been doing a really good job this month. Like, I've noticed the business has been growing. I noticed that you've been working all this overtime or whatever, right? Like, how often do you go out of way to tell your leadership team or your leaders, the people who are leading you every day, your managers, your boss, like, how often are you telling them how much you appreciate them? And I think it's just I feel like the answer is not a whole lot, right? Like, I feel like the general answer is we're waiting for our managers to notice how hard we're working, and we're waiting for our managers to tell us good job. And although that is important, and that's our managers and our leaders and our boss's job to do, I want you to think about it from your point of view, like from your seat too. Like, how often are we showing appreciation to like the people above us and telling them like how good of a job they're doing, or So, anyways, just something to think about, reflect on. I would assume the answer is we don't really talk about it a whole lot. So, if you haven't read that book, go read it. I think it really shifts the mindset. Not everybody needs to have a 10x mindset, but if you are trying to grow in some sort of way, I think thinking bigger than not, I feel like oftentimes our goals are very small, or we're taking it, So anyways, 10x is easier than 2x. Think about it, read it, Benjamin Hardy. A couple updates for you. I did mention on last episode and just a little bit earlier that we do have a 7th location. So for those of you listening, we've been working on a little project in Baraboo, and we're trying kind of a new business plan altogether down in Baraboo. I personally love the Baraboo area. It's a beautiful, I'm sure everybody listening here basically knows the Baraboo area, Devil's Lake and the hills and the trees, and just it's a pretty area. So we are opening a personal training style studio in Baraboo. It's going to be 1,200 square feet, so it's not a normal Grizzly Fitness by any means. The name is still going to remain, it's going to be like Grizzly Fitness Studio Baraboo, so it's still going to be our brand. And it's going to be a new business model. Like, it's going to be our personal training, the semi-private personal training that we're currently doing at our facilities is going to be the only or the main service we provide there. So for those of you listening who do not know, we do semi-private personal training. We do one-on-one personal training as well, but our semi-private model being, a small group, right? 2 to 6 clients, 1 coach, stations, and that stuff. So we signed a lease in Baraboo. And for those of you listening, again, and I keep saying this for those of you listening, the reason why we pursued this, there's a couple reasons. One, we are interested in getting to that 50 gyms mark, and this will count towards that goal. Number 2, we had a coach here in Watoma named Emily who was coaching with us, and she's originally from Baraboo, and she was going to move back, and she said, hey, if at any point you want to open something down in Baraboo, let me know. And so I was just doing some research, and I found a little spot for rent, and it wasn't like a high priority of mine, but we went down and looked at it. We negotiated what we wanted for rent in an agreement. So we negotiated like our price and our term and all of those items, and we got her where we wanted it. So we thought to not only, and it wasn't to just help Emily, but not only to help Emily, that she could also help us towards our gym goal, and we could just try this new business plan out and see how it goes. So again, it's 1,200 square feet. It's low overhead, low risk for us comparative to our other locations. We're not buying a property. We're not going super large. We made sure we negotiated our lease down and as far as like how long we're going to be there. So if for some reason it wasn't working out as well as we wanted it to, we would have an exit plan, right? So those are all things we thought about before getting into this. So we had all of the equipment for the most part in storage that could go there to open that facility right away. And now we are in the process of getting new clients for that facility. We're going to be launching December 1st, which is a Monday. We're going to be doing our training schedules Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Saturday morning. So it's just, again, a whole new business plan-ish. It's just like taking a chunk of our business and then making it thrive on its own. So it'll be very interesting. So I will give you guys updates on how that facility goes as well. There could be some like long-term plays in Baraboo that I'm not really going to discuss because I don't want to overpromise or, say something that in 2 years' time is a different thought. So anyways, Baraboo, location number 7. Another update that I have for you guys is we bought a property in Princeton right next to our gym in Princeton. And this was kind of a strategic play, and I don't, again, want to say too much information because I don't want to overpromise, underdeliver, but the upper unit is an apartment building or an apartment, so we are going to renovate that and get that rented out. So we'll have an upper tenant, we'll just have a little apartment up there. And it's actually really pretty because for those of you that know where our Princeton gym is located, we are located on the water. So the apartment's actually really pretty. It's right between the bowling alley and our gym. Our gym runs all the way back to the water, and then the bowling alley right next to us in this apartment building runs all the way to the water. And then the apartment's obviously much smaller. So there's like kind of a backyard and then like a fire pit, and it gets down to the water area. So with some cleanup and making it look nice, it could actually be a very cute apartment. The sunshine comes right through those rear windows, and you can see the water, and just very peaceful. So very cute little apartment. Just needs some loving from us, and then we'll have our first apartment, I suppose. The lower unit, we have intentions at some point. There's currently a tenant down there, but one of our goals would be to renovate and potentially use that lower unit as maybe of service to our gym in some way. So that's as much as I'll say there, but that's kind of where we're leaning to utilize that lower section there as well to benefit our gym potentially. So that is another update for you, our Princeton building. Exciting stuff. Another update for you is in the space that I'm in right now. If you guys are watching on YouTube or if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, we are sitting in our going to be podcast studio. It is our podcast studio, but our going to be finished podcast studio at some point. We're going to have, I've already explained to this podcast studio area, but I'll have my office down here. I'll probably have like a little treadmill down here. So like as I'm getting phone calls or if I'm on like a conference call for a while, I'll be able to hop on the treadmill and get some steps in, which will be awesome. The room I'm in right now will be primarily a podcast studio, a meeting area, my office. I'll have some time where like I'll actually have a space for myself where I can have 60 to maybe 90 minutes of devoted, silence where I can like really get a lot of office stuff done, and then I can be more opened up. Right now, our current problem with our office is it's all shared, which is great. I love a shared office. I don't like cubicles. I don't like individual office rooms or anything like that, but I do need some time to like just focus on my office stuff so I can really get a lot of stuff. So I can really get a lot of work done, and then I can refocus my energy on everybody else that needs my attention as well. So we have a new plan, and I always have these new plans, and this was a very good plan. This is actually, I'll give credit to Ellie. This was her idea. But we talked about it, and we were originally going to knock out the room. So we're in the podcast studio. There's another space right, again, if you're listening or watching, I'm looking at the next door space basically, but we were going to do gym amenities down here, which is going to be like our, maybe if we did tanning and sauna, like we were going to do it down here. We have decided against that, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to knock all of this stuff out down here and just make it a wide open office space. So we'll have more office space. We'll have a nice like conference table in there where we can actually sit down and do roundtable meetings. And we thought this would be a lot better because now where our current office is in the Watoma gym in the back section, we can actually reutilize that space to potentially service the gym as well. So exciting stuff. I'm very excited to get this office space down here. It'll just give our team like a devoted spot that like they can actually like grow in, have their like official office, like their own like building basically that'll be like theirs, and it's gonna be super cool. So I'm very excited for that. We're starting that process now. That's an update down here. So once that is done, we'll probably come back to this podcast studio. This is in the works as well. My sister is the designer of our podcast studio. I'm very excited for it to be completed, and you guys are going to see pictures and videos of it on the YouTube channel. It is going to be super cool. So that's it for that kind of stuff. I do want to let you know I did complete a 43-ish hour fast over the weekend. So last episode I was talking to you about my 24-hour fast. I did like 2 24-hour fasts in a row, and then day 3, I ended up running my 24-hour fast into a 43-hour fast. So basically I ate Thursday at like 11 or noon or 1 o'clock, whatever it was. Friday, I was so busy, I didn't get home until 4. And I was like, you know what? If I just wait a couple more hours, like I'm going to go to bed anyways. So let me just fast today. And so then Saturday, I broke the fast at 10 or something, 10:30. So I didn't intend on doing it. I did plan on working up to a 72-hour fast at some point. But I will tell you, I did this 43-ish hour fast. For those of you who don't know, the 36-hour mark is supposedly like the first magical mark. So I am doing 24-hour fast this week as well, just one meal a day. So tomorrow, Tuesday, when you guys hear this, I'm going to eat again at 1 o'clock. That'll be my 24-hour fast again. And then, but this, anyway, so this 43-hour fast was actually awesome. And it was awesome for a couple reasons. The mental toughness aspect, I feel like, is so cool. A lot of us just feel like we need to eat, right? We've got breakfast. We've got the cereal companies, the Pop-Tarts of the world. Like, they spent all this ad money, all this marketing on us to implement a breakfast routine. And anyways, when we see a certain time on the clock, we're like creatures of habit, right? So we get in this rhythm. Oh, we got to eat at 8, noon, and 4, or whatever time your schedule is. And we're not even necessarily hungry at those times. Our brain's just triggering like, hey, I know you like to eat at 8. Hey, I know you like to eat, when you wake up, or at noon, because that's lunchtime. And so for me, when I did this fast, I broke those habits a little bit, like the hardest part was feeling like I needed to eat. And I didn't, like I wasn't hungry. Now I'm not saying I wasn't hungry on my at hour 41 or hour 28 before I went to bed, but just breaking some of those mental barriers of I need to eat, the clock says so, was very fascinating. Also, on my 43-hour fast, I went for a 3-mile run at hour 40. So like Saturday morning at 6 a.m., me and the family went for a family run, or 6:30 or something like that. We went for a 3-mile run, and I looked it up. I'm like, is this dangerous? Like, should I be running on this kind of fast? And for the average person, it said, do not do this. It's not safe, because of, I basically put in my information. I was like, well, I do work out all the time. I do fast like typically 20 hours a day, 18 to 20 hours a day is my normal fasting routine. So it's not like I have not fasted before. I just haven't fasted this long. And so it basically just said I had to drink a lot of salt and electrolytes, right? So that Friday when I didn't eat, I was taking in a bunch of sodium and salt. Saturday morning, I pounded some bone broth. I pounded some salt in my water as well. And so I was making sure I kept my electrolytes up, which is very important on this fast. And then I just like took it slow. Like I wasn't trying to break any records. I wasn't trying to run, again, a marathon. I wasn't trying to be the fastest mile time. I just took it nice and easy, and I monitored, and it was awesome though. And so what else was so cool about this is just like seeing what the body is capable of. You don't really know what you don't know. And surprisingly enough, when I woke up, I wasn't actually hungry. Like my body was finally really utilizing, it was finally in ketosis. It was really utilizing my body fat for energy, which is, again, just so fascinating that it was just so cool. And so I've actually got these like urine test strips so you can see at what level of ketosis you are in. And so I recommend if you are going to do a fast, or if you want to know if you're in ketosis, like that's a good thing to do just to test and understand that. So I'm learning as I go. I'm learning more about glycogen storages and just how all of this stuff works. So as I learn more, I'll try to educate you guys. It's not for everybody. There's a lot of studies coming out about fasting. They do say a 72-hour fast, like once or twice a year, is a really good thing to do. Again, I don't know the science, but I know it helps like get rid of the old cells and regenerate a bunch of things. And it just makes you feeling better than you were before. And there's some scientists out there that'll claim, if you did a 72-hour fast every so often, that it'd be very hard for diseases, I'll say like the cancers of the world, to grow inside your body For why, I don't know. You have to do your own research on like 72-hour fast and all the science behind it. But it's a big thing right now. I do want to try it for myself, so I'm going to push to get to that 72-hour fast mark at some point. I'm going to potentially do another 48-ish hour fast this week and just do that again. Some people might say fasting or not eating is dumb. Again, going back to like our ancestors, they didn't really know when they were going to eat dinner, and they did live. Now, did all of our ancestors live to 70, 80, 90? No, I'm not trying to have that argument either. But we can survive without stuffing our faces full, 3-4 times a day. So anyways, I love the fast. I'm going to do it again. I recommend, if you want to try it, go for it. I do like that I've kind of eased my way into it. So I was doing the 18 to 20 hour fast a day, worked up to that 1 meal a day, so 24-hour fast. And then I kind of just slipped into like a 26, 27-hour fast, and then kind of slipped into that 43-hour fast because I was just staying busy. That's another important thing. If you are going to fast, staying busy, not just sitting at home, not just waiting for food is very important. And then also, again, keeping your sodium up. So that way you're just not getting lightheaded or dizzy at all. Keeping very high water intake, taking creatine while you're doing a fast is important as well. So, and you can still drink like black coffee. Bone broth is okay as well. It won't break your fast, right? Do some of your own research on that, but some interesting stuff. So go ahead and try it. The last thing I'll leave you guys with, and this is kind of funny, if you use ChatGPT or Grok, I've been using Grok as my words of encouragement. Grok, I've just been asking very quick questions, and I like the way that Grok responds as far as like it feels more like a human interaction. I was asking it a bunch of questions like during my workout, during my meals, if I can do this or that with my coffee, like just any general questions. Hey Grok, I'm, working on this and doing that. What are your thoughts? And it gives some very good words of encouragement. It gives honest answers. I used it a lot when I was going to break my fast, then when I was eating that day, and how many calories I should be eating and how many calories I'm actually burning. And so I was just asking it all these questions, and I thought it was very interesting. Now, it is AI. It is like, I'm not going to say it's 100% accurate. I'm not saying it's a doctor. I'm not saying go get advice like that from it. But it was interesting to like just get more insights on the things I'm doing. So I think being curious and learning as much as we can is always important. So as you're going throughout the day and you see something that you don't know what it is or how it works, take a picture of it, put it into Grok or ChatGPT and ask, hey, what is this thing? Or, it's kind of like the 5-year-old version of ourselves. We ask all these questions. Why this? Why that? How is glass made? How do you make carpet? What is carpet made out of? How do you make paint? What is just any questions like this, right? Like who's the largest manufacturer of microphones, right? Whatever like those little questions are, as I'm looking around the room and here blinds and plumbing and HVAC, like we have all of these things around us that we really know nothing about. And I've told you guys this before, just like learning a little bit of like the surface level stuff is great to just have an understanding of like the things that we're interacting with, the things that we're utilizing every day. I just think it's a good tool for us to use. So ChatGPT and Grok are very quick and responsive and easy like that. Again, you have to do your own research, do a little bit of deep diving and really to understand things or make sure it's accurate all the time. But if you want a very quick response, a quick understanding, a quick glimpse of what is going on, like I think that is a good tool to use. So again, I used it to help break my fast, to help refeed, for some of my supplements and things like that. I will ask like, hey, for example, here's a good one. I take a bunch of individual supplements, right? I'll take like 10 or 15 different things that make up what I want to take. Instead of taking like one supplement that has everything, I like to find each individual supplement that's the most pure form, and then I take it that way. So what you can do, so one of the problems when you take a bunch of different supplements is some of them fight for absorption. And so that's a problem. Because if I take these 5 supplements and 2 of them are fighting for absorption, the other ones I might not even utilize, and one might absorb, so it just kind of screws up the way that your body intakes it. So I talk to ChatGPT and Grok and just ask like, hey, if I'm taking these 5 supplements, when's the best time to take them? Oh, before bed, empty stomach, 30 minutes before your workout. Don't take these together because they don't stack well nicely. When you take this one, also take this one, and you're going to see way more results from it, right? So again, I just learned more from that. I will do some research, and sometimes when you ask the same questions over, you do get some difference in variances and responses. So again, it's good to do your own research a little bit deeper than just asking Grok the first time or ChatGPT. So just anyways, use that as a tool in your back pocket. Learn some more stuff every day. Try to like better yourself, better understand the world around you. And the last thing I'll say, because I've been meaning to say this in several other episodes, is leaders are readers. I like that saying. I think it's very important. A lot of mentors always talk about books. They always talk about learning more from other people. And the best way to do that is through reading, and reading a real book, a real hardcover, a real paper copy book, getting away from the screens, devoting time to like just reading pages, learning from people who have already lived lives before us, right? Leaders are readers. Learn as much as you can, better yourself. I encourage everybody around me to read. You don't have to read as much as I do, but set a goal. Read 3 books this year, 5 books this year. The average individual is not reading on a day-to-day basis, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. Most of them, if you ask, the last time they read a book was middle school or high school, right? Like that's the average answer. So everybody around me, I encourage to read and read more and read things that are interesting to you, read things that can help better your life and just put you in a better position to win. Because I know in my last 18 months alone that I've grown so much as an individual, as a leader, as a business owner, as a personal relationships and family, right? Like I've grown so much in that area just from reading and taking it all in. So I really, really encourage you to pick up a book. And if you've made it this far in the podcast, you probably listen to me all the time anyways. So if you're not reading yet, grab a book, read, set a goal, 10 pages a night, 10 minutes a night, whatever it is, just start. And believe me, in a year's time, in 6 months' time, you will thank me. You'll be grateful that you started. And don't wait to start next week. Don't wait to start on New Year's, right? Don't set these dumb goals that says, because it's a new day, it's a new month, it's a new year, now I can start. Just start today. Grab a book, go to the library, order one off Amazon, whatever you got to do, and start. So that's what I'll finish off with today. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a good one.